Hello, I'm Deborah Wallace, licensed marriage and family therapist, and this is an episode of my pause and process, which I started as collectively as a society. We've gone through a pandemic, and wars are happening, and huge changes. And as a trauma informed specialist, I've been practicing for almost 25 years, and I help people understand what trauma is, because trauma really isn't a one time event. It's how your nervous system processes and makes sense of something. And so, any event that's out of our control, unpredictable, and overwhelming for our unique nervous system can then become into, and then we have no safe place to process, express, and make sense of it, get stuck in our nervous systems, our minds, and our bodies, and creates dysregulation. And over time, the longer that happens, then the more dysregulation and dysfunction and symptoms we have. So we need to absolutely make time to pause and process toxins and stressors so that it doesn't build up and affect our health, our well-being, and our relationships. So I created Pause and Process as a collective, yet also because personally, as I'd been caretaking, I've had massive changes in my life, and left my family in New Zealand, take care of my mother in America. I've been caretaking her, and then she ended up with flesh-eating bacteria, and then in ICU, and passed away. And then I've been in her home and dealing with all her things, and then now I've been in New Zealand. So I took a long pause from the Pause and Process as I came back to New Zealand to take care of myself, and I then have breast cancer. And I'm actually going to pause and process something that I haven't processed fully, because obviously I did some processing on my cancer diagnosis. I've now since then had surgery, which I just did a positive reframe on that surgery because I'm a very natural, holistic human being. And so having surgery was something that I needed to process. I feel good with my decision. But also in the midst of all this is my son has been taking care of my pets. You may have watched my pause and processes before. So usually I like to talk about some kind of concept, psychoeducation, and relate it to my life and share my insights for the first 15, 20 minutes. And then I end on some kind of practice, a mindfulness, meditation, grounding exercise to help get us in our bodies. I do a lot of somatic experiencing, which is bottom up therapeutic approaches, whereas talk therapy is top down, whereas a lot of trauma gets stuck in our brainstem or in our bodies. And so we need these other ways to connect to our bodies. And so something that has been really hard for me, as you've seen my videos, I've used like an anchor of one of the meditations I've done was a positive resource. Usually my pause and process I have in the titles what the exercise I did. And one of them I did was an anchoring image of, and I would use my cat and my dog, and you would see my cat often show up in my videos, which I had described appeared the day my mother died. And we named it after my mother. And this cat was just an amazing cat. But I had this cat and dog, and their relationship together was so amazing to witness and to grow over time. And it was like seeing them together made anything possible. And as I had been diagnosed with breast cancer, and my son was in the States taking care of my pets, and I had to rehome them. Now I'm going to feel the tears because this is going to be raw, because this is me really processing this out loud. I've processed with other people. Obviously, I practice what I preach, and I've reached out to friends and have my own therapist process this. But grief, I talk a lot about grief too. Grief comes in waves, and when I was first talking about it, because I was heading into surgery, I had to like put it in a container. I've done a container in one of these videos, to just kind of, because I had to, focus on my work. I had to do all the things so that I could be able to take a week off of work. And during this time that I'm having to make this, to prepare and get all these ducks in a row, I had to make this decision about my dog, who I rescued. It was a senior rescue, and I wanted to rescue an older dog because I've had older dogs that I had to rehome, and other people took my older dogs in when I came to New Zealand. So I wanted to take in an older dog, and this dog had a lot of health issues that I had found out once I got him, and needed a $10,000 surgery. He was deaf. He had hyperthyroidism. He had all these issues, and I mean, the vet had told me that he was probably in a lot of pain anyways, but I was, medicating, doing what I could, the best I could. And yet coming to rehome him was really hard because he had so many issues, and I'm honest with all the issues. And then with him I've been away from him for almost 2.5 months at this point, trying to rehome him. And so the stress of not being around me, he was having new health issues. And so after consulting with the vet, I had to make the decision to euthanize my dog. And on top of it, I had to have my son do it because I'm not there. Whew. And so I'm processing that. I felt a lot of shame. I felt a lot of guilt because I was actually in contact with the organization that I adopted him from, and I'm actually able to talk about it better now because I felt like I failed this dog. I was going to rehome them to them. They were going to take him, and then when they were aware of all the issues too. They said it would be really hard to find a home for them, but they were doing the best they can. And then I had someone else who said they were maybe willing to foster. So at this time, but it was just after talking with vets and everything, anyways. And then my son has obviously been talking to a lot of people, and he's the one with my dog Carmelo. It's a purebred Cocker Spaniel, and the organization actually did end up calling my son and helped him to also see that that was the best decision, and he knows best because he's the one with the dog. But wow, I've had to make that decision before, and I know many people have helped many clients have to make this decision. And there's some clear signs when and when they're struggling to go to the bathroom, that's one of the clear signs. So this was starting to happen, and I knew in my heart it was the right decision. But oh my gosh, like I had to be the one to say, I had to be the one to make the decision. I had to be the adult in the situation and be the one. And even though I knew in my heart that it was going to be best for him, I felt the shame. So I sat with a lot of shame and guilt. Had I not left, had I been there, he could have been in a better shape. But I'm noticing the tears coming up in my body. And then also I have to rehome the cat. Unfortunately, I had someone that I know come in at the last minute. I've tried. So if anyone wants an amazing, if you watch my other videos and are in Illinois and would love this awesome Babs the cat. He's about a year old. He's the coolest, cuddliest cat, and it was amazing. Like I talked a lot about their relationship because even though my dog Carmelo was reactive aggressive, and if Babs the cat went after wanted any of his food or wanted any of his toys, Carmelo would go after him, but he was so slow and had so many health issues that he never really got to the cat. But I was so amazed how Babs would never claw, even though Babs' claws never attacked back. And like even if Babs got away, Babs would come back within like 2 minutes and go a safe distance, which is like what I tell parents to do. Like, when your child's thrashing and having a temper tantrum, like a lot of times I know as a parent, I got overstimulated. I'd be like, I'd have to walk away to get calm in my own body. But then that actually makes the child feel even worse. So it's like I often say, but then they'll say, oh, but if I go to hug the child or try to offer, the child's getting more angry and hitting at me, which is a very common dynamic that happens. Because then that's too much for their nerve, and they're feeling you mad at them, and so even though you're trying to support them, they know you're disappointed at them, and so when you try to give too much proximity and closeness, that overwhelms them. And so, I tell parents, to lower your body energy, get on the floor, sit within a safe distance from them, and breathe, regulate your own self so that they know that you're still there. And that's what I would love Babs just did. Like, even though Carmela went after, Babs would just come like a safe distance away and just lay down right next to Carmelo. And I was like, oh, this cat is so cool. So my heart is tug now that I have to rehome this cat as well. So I'm processing all that on top of having diagnosed with breast cancer and hopefully being cancer free. I will find out this my next follow-up appointment to make sure it didn't spread anywhere. I will still need radiation. And like I said, I made the best decision. My son is now here to help me. So now I have both my children with me in New Zealand, and taking it one day at a time. I do hope to return back to Chicagoland, and at this point, this is where I am getting the best care and support. Whew. So that is an example of processing. Now, ideally in relationships, because I'm a relationship therapist, I have no one here. And so, but processing, I know a lot of clients when I'm working with them, they're like, oh, I'm all over the place. Oh, I'm sorry, this isn't making sense. And often I tell people that you got to meet yourself where you're at. Our minds are so full of so much memory and thoughts and feelings. And so it's like you kind of just need to dump it all out and get it out. And so often I tell with couples too, like if one partner needs to vent, it's important. There's a speaker listening technique. It's really important just to allow that partner, the one that's the most overwhelmed and stressed, to just get it all out. and it's the other person's job. A lot of times we want to come and fix it and solve it, when really, when we're in this overwhelming state of feeling so many mixed emotions, it's so important just to listen. And I often give the cues: listen to whoever is the one venting. Listen for their fears, their cares, and their needs. Those are kind of the things that you want to pay attention to. Get your antenna up high to listen. And also, if they're not able to say it, usually the one that's more calm and connected. I use my book a lot when we stay connected to our brain and our prefrontal cortex, the one that's feeling the most regulated and feeling safe in their mind, body, and spirit. You can say, hey, do you want feedback, or would you like me just to listen? And that's a good way, because sometimes people do want a solution, but I would err on most people just want to be heard. And to help a nervous system develop in a healthy fashion, which I talk about in many of my talks, but repetition, is that we need to feel safe, seen, soothed, and secure consistently. And that can look different to everybody. And that's why I've written my book, How to Train My Brain, because it's meant to be a little manual that you do with your child to help them figure out what helps their nervous system feel safe, seen, soothed, and secure. As we keep doing that, then we're able to stay calm. And it's not about not ever having stress. Stress is a part of life. And that's why I do these pause and process, because we can't get rid of stress and there's so much we can't control. We have to increase opportunities to give our nervous system some space to pause, process, integrate, reflect, so that we can build healthy nervous systems, and so that we can kind of regroup and empty, so that we can start again, refresh. Because if we don't process it, it just keeps building, and creates a lot of problems in our health, in our lives, in our well-being. And it's transgenerational. It's not, that's why it's not contextual. You can't just think, well, I had it great. No, it's like things that didn't get passed on will keep going on until someone in that family line stops and processes it. So now I'm going to move us into a little bit of a meditation, and I chose the loving kindness, self-compassion meditation that I'm going to walk through, because that's actually what I needed to do, which is what I tell everybody is, we're so hard on ourselves because often we're mirroring what we've been told. You shouldn't do that. Blah, blah. And so when I was feeling so much shame and guilt about this decision, even though I knew it was right, like I knew I had this feeling that I know it was the right thing to do. I was just so afraid of being judged and saying this all out loud. But I knew I was oh my gosh, the circumstances that are going on in my life. And that's for everybody. It doesn't matter. You can't just, yes, there's wars going on. I'm not denying that that's horrible and horrendous, but that doesn't help your nervous system in this moment. Your nervous system only knows this time being right now. It only knows what it knows. And that's what's in front of your life right now, your lived experience. Um, so that's so important to be kind to yourself, because then that helps soften your nervous system so that you can be your best self and move through and access your innate intelligence and best parts. So I'm going to walk us through this loving kindness meditation. And I think it's really, anytime if you've not practiced meditation, it's really important that you feel safe and you're consenting and you're choosing to do this. And if you're not feeling in a space like there's too many distractions, just listen to the words. You can wash dishes, you can do whatever you want. But just see how the words land on your nervous system. Notice any sensations. If there's a phrase that I say that softens, I often say follow your light, because when you're feeling light and ease and peace, and that's an indicator that you're on your path. You're doing things that are feeling safe and soothing to your nervous system. Whereas if you're feeling, a little tension, then that's usually indicating an area that needs some processing, some attention, some TLC. So find a position upright and feel relaxed. And you may keep your eyes open or close them fully or partially. Do whatever. Listen to what feels safe to your body. Everybody is different. And take a few deep breaths to settle into your body, into this present moment. You can put your hand on your heart. I do this practice often, especially when I'm listening to people share. It's nice and grounding to put your hand on your heart and take a few breaths. And my hand on your heart is a reminder to be kind to yourself, along with anyone who's in your presence. That's why I often do it when people are talking to me. Now form an image of yourself sitting down. Note your posture on your chair if you were seeing yourself from the outside. I just noticed, I don't know if you can hear the birds in New Zealand. They're so beautiful. Amazing bird calls. So you may notice distractions. That's completely known. No, just notice it and then bring yourself back to your breath. That image. I can see myself sitting in this turquoise comfortable chair. Now bring your attention inside your body and feel the pulsation and vibration of your body. No right or wrong, just notice vibration or pulsating in your body. Locate the breathing where it can feel it most easily. So feel your breath in your body. So whether you breathe in more easily through your nose or in your mouth and out your mouth or out your nose, just notice where it flows more easily. When your intention wanders, gently feel the movement of your breathing, of your breath. So you can notice that wandering. I often say that's just the very first step of processing anything. It's just simply noticing it. Our brain likes order and naming things. So just saying that, I notice that. And then go back to your breath. gentle guidance. After a few minutes, start to notice any physical sensations of stress that you're holding in your body, perhaps in your neck, jaw, belly, or forehead. I'm actually noticing that since I've had a week off, I usually feel tension in my neck, but I'm not feeling anything in my neck. Everybody's different. Listen to your body. I naturally just had surgery, so I'm feeling tension where I had surgery. After noticing wherever your body is carrying tension, now offer yourself goodwill because of what you've been holding in your body right now or over the last few days or a lifetime. Only you know what you live through day in and day out, and it's all valid. And say the following phrases to yourself softly and gently. May I be safe. May I be peaceful. May I be kind to myself. May I accept myself as I am. When you notice your mind has wandered, return to the words or experience a discomfort in your body and mind. Go slow. May I be safe. May I be peaceful. May I be kind to myself. May I accept myself as I am. And if one of those phrases resonated more, then you can just repeat one of them. There's no right or wrong. This is an opportunity to connect and attune to your unique nervous system, mind, body, and spirit. If you are ever overwhelmed with emotion, you can always return to your breathing. You can name the emotion or find it in the physical body and soften that area. And then when you feel comfort again, you may return to the phrases. May I be safe. May I be peaceful. May I be kind to myself. May I accept myself as I am. Take a few more conscious deep breaths, nurturing, just sitting quietly in your own body. Again, if your mind wanders, if you noticed emotions, just notice it, name it. You may return to the phrases or phrase that you wish anytime. This is your practice. And I love the word practice because practice means we keep practicing. You may notice your feet grounded on the floor. Feel your legs and bottom on the chair or your back. Start to wiggle your fingers and slowly open your eyes if you had them closed. And just do a compassionate scan from head to toe and notice any thoughts, feelings, sensations. You notice feeling lighter after sitting and pausing. And if you didn't, if this is new to you, you may have more feelings of, I'm not sure if I did that right, or I'm not sure. Or because you don't pause so much or process things, a lot of things could have come up for you. And that's where I encourage everybody. Although I'm a therapist, this is not therapy. And it's so important that everyone, I recommend, if things came up that were disturbing or too overwhelming and it felt uncomfortable, way too uncomfortable, it's really important to seek out professional help so that you have a safe place and someone to guide you through how to process more deeper things, because that's why in our 24/7 way of living, it's nonstop. The stimulation is going, going, going. And it's also can also feel good to distract ourselves with these things because we're avoiding some harder, uncomfortable truths and painful emotions or experiences. Yet they will continue to keep happening if we don't make the time to pause and process and listen to our fears, our cares, and our needs so that we can create a life that gets our vital needs met in sustainable, consistent ways so that we can be our best self. And I know for me, as I was doing that, because I'm saying it, I'm also doing the meditation, and I did, when it asked for emotions, like I did have that, I had a feeling of come up like, wow, that really happened, that I had to put my dog down, like this little disbelief that it makes it real as you say it more. And it was beautiful that I was able to again be kind to myself, as it really does. It really, compassion is so healing, and we all deserve it, period. All right. Take wonderful care. Please follow, subscribe, and leave comments if you'd like me to talk about any other topics or do a positive reframe on. Take wonderful care.